Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Yura and we are back in Rush Duel Links talking about another deck from a very peak format. This is Dark Galaxy Fusion and it is one of the most fun decks in the format to pilot. I know I've said that a lot about the other decks that I've done profiles for, but there really is just something special about the way this deck operates that makes you feel like you are really just gambling your life away. And sometimes it hits big and it never will ever feel better. So Dark Galaxy Fusion, and I've kind of mentioned this in a couple of other videos, is absolutely the deck with the highest ceiling in the format, except for like maybe Chaos Galaxy if that deck really high rolls. The boards that this deck can produce with just like a little bit of graveyard setup are absolutely absurd. Their extra deck monsters are maybe the craziest ones in the format by a long shot. The general tools this deck has access to, like Dark Hole Device, which is, you guessed it, Dark Hole, but extra effects, is just kind of insane. And it is the deck that I've labbed the least in this format for sure, but the couple of games that I have actually played with it in getting this list together, which is very similar to a lot of topping lists from the WCQ, has been nothing short of a blast. So we're going to do the same thing that I did with the Light Galaxy deck. We're going to talk about this from the top down, starting with the skill, and then going over some of the key pieces, and then going into the breakdown of what makes this deck tick. So first things first, we've got Voidvelg Fusion Draw. This is a very similar skill to the Light Galaxy skill, where from turn 2 onward, if all the monsters in your constructed deck are Galaxy-type monsters, you can send up to 2 cards, a level 8 Dark Attribute monster, Dark Hole Device, and or Fusion from your hand to the graveyard, then draw the same number of cards. Very similar effect to the Light Galaxy skill. Then, if you sent Voidvelg Requiem specifically to the graveyard by this effect, you can also mill 3. Now, this is kind of a thing that Konami has been doing for a little bit, where the power level of the skill is inversely proportional to how powerful the cards in the deck are, and Voidvelg's main cards are infinitely better than something like Spellcasters or Light Galaxy, so this skill is a little bit worse. The mill 3 being once per duel, when Light Galaxy can just spawn cards out of the ether twice per duel, and the 7's Road skill being able to activate every single turn is a little silly until you realize that some of these cards read win the game. So we're going to start off by talking about the old centerpiece of the deck, the one that is kind of like the face of the archetype, much like Galactica Oblivion is for Light Galaxy and 7's Road Magician is for Spellcasters. This is Voidvelg Requiem, and by sending the top card of your deck to the graveyard, this card gains attack equal to the number of face-up Dark Attribute monsters on your field times 300 until the end of this turn. Then, if your opponent has a face-up Light Attribute monster on their field, this card gains 600. I think this card currently caps out at 4K, which is genuinely a really big number. It gets over Galactica Oblivion and even trades with a maximum like a Drago, which can be really big, although maximums kind of aren't really around right now. But this effect does come up, and it can get very big with very little investment. The other main level 8 monster we're going to talk about is Voidvelg Chrysaor. There are a couple of others you could run, but I think Chrysaor is just like ridiculous, and there is no reason to run any of the other ones. There's even a variant of this deck that doesn't use the Fusion Draw skill, and instead uses the Tearfang skill to give a multi-attacking Chrysaor piercing, which can just kill your opponent on the spot with the right setup. And to see why that's possible, you don't have to read very far into Chrysaor's effect. If your opponent has 2 or more monsters on the field, you can send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard, which is very good. If a Dark Attribute Galaxy type monster is among the cards, this turn, this card can attack up to the number of Dark Attribute Galaxy type monsters you sent to the graveyard. And if 3 Dark Attribute Galaxy type monsters with the same level were sent to the graveyard by this effect, you can also destroy all face-up level 8 or lower monsters on your opponent's field. I don't know why this card is like this. It's not like a modern support for this deck. This was in like the first couple of waves. It debuted at like the end of season 1 of Go Rush, which a lot of these other cards are from. And this card's just nuts. It's absolutely absurd. This thing on its own can contest entire boards. You don't even need the equip spell. A 2500 attack stat is still really solid into a lot of things. The nuking effect is just a bonus. And to top it all off, it's got a broken fusion monster too. Voidvelg Theogonia is a fusion of Chrysaor and Dark Prophet, which we will talk about in a moment because Dark Prophet is very important for all of these fusions. During your main phase that you special summon this card, you can special summon a level 8 Galaxy type monster from your graveyard face up to your field. Then, the monster special summoned by this effect cannot be destroyed by card effects until the end of your opponent's next turn. So you use the Chrysaor, which on its own is a terrifying monster, and a Dark Prophet which is also really good to make this card, which can then immediately reborn the Chrysaor to use its effect again because there are no once per turns in Rush. It is an absurd amount of graveyard setup, which this deck really does appreciate because it has a lot of really powerful effects that rely on shuffling Dark Galaxies back into the deck. And that is where we get to Dark Prophet. This is, for a level 1, 0 attack, 0 defense monster, probably the most important card in this entire deck. It's got a very simple effect. During the turn you normal summon this card, shuffle 3 Dark Attribute Galaxies from your graveyard to the deck, and then add a fusion from your graveyard to your hand. Incredibly simple effect, very basic requirement that is going to be very easily set up, but the things this card can do are ridiculous. Dark Prophet is the main fusion component for Theogonia, Protostar, and Apocalypse. The only fusion it's not used for is Gigantomachia, which is kind of like a weird boss monster that doesn't come up that much. You can make it, but it's funny, but it doesn't matter that much. To really understand why Dark Prophet is so important, I'm going to read through the other fusions and then we'll go through their materials at a later time. Protostar is an exceptional extender. It is Voidville Globule plus Dark Prophet, Globule being this monster here, with the effect of, for no requirement, add a level 4 or lower Galaxy type monster from your graveyard to your hand. Then, if you have Dark Hole in your graveyard, which Dark Hole device becomes while it's in the graveyard, you can also choose a level 8 monster in your graveyard and special summon it face up to your field. Its extension, in multiple ways, it gets your Dark Prophet back for additional fusion plays, which will come up very often. It can reborn Chrysaor or Requiem because they're both level 8s. And it's also got like okay stats. It's kind of like our Fuse Eve if Fuse Eve was like more broken somehow. And the other Dark Prophet fusion is the entire reason why I think this deck can be so frustrating to play against, but one of the most fun decks to pilot. Voidvelg Apocalypse is a card that probably should not be in the game right now, and it reads, send a card from your hand to the graveyard. This turn, this card gains 1,000 attack and cannot be destroyed by card effects. Not your opponent's, any. If you activated this effect during your main phase that you special summon to this card, you can add a Dark Hole from your graveyard to your hand. Now, notably, we don't have the legend spell Dark Hole yet, and I don't think we'll have it for a very long time, but Dark Hole device is Dark Hole while it's in the graveyard, as I already mentioned, and by having a face-up Dark Attribute Galaxy-type fusion monster on your field, or sending 3 Dark Attribute Galaxy-type monsters from your hand to the graveyard, it is Dark Hole, and then you can add any Galaxy monster from your graveyard to your hand. This card, in conjunction with Apocalypse, is a field wipe that leaves a 3,500 attack monster on your board and can then recycle a Dark Prophet to make a second one, because the other material requirement is the 1,600 attack vanilla that you're going to be using anyway, because it's really good. I do not know why this deck is like this. I don't know who made all of these cards legal at the same time, but I want to send them a giant bouquet of flowers. It is so much fun to pilot. The other main deck monsters that I feel like I should at least mention, Meteor Larva is some very basic graveyard setup. It just mills from the top of your deck equal to the number of Dark Attribute Galaxies on your field. It's very basic. It's not a part of any fusions. It's just kind of a guy. Globule, by shuffling 3 Dark Attribute Galaxies from your graveyard into the deck, can be treated as 2 tributes for the tribute summon of a Dark Attribute Galaxy type monster. You use that to get to Chrysaor. Normally, if you have fusion plays online, you're just going to be using it as material for Protostar and ways of just like staying in the game, because shuffling 3 back is really good. And finally, Cataphract is a card that's been around in Dark Galaxy lists for a while. It is our main method of getting our level 8s out of the graveyard into our hand. So like recycling a Chrysaor or a Requiem. If you have another face-up Dark Attribute monster on your field during the turn, you normal summon this card. Mill 1, and then if you send a monster to the graveyard by this effect, you can add a level 8 Galaxy type monster from your graveyard to your hand. The other main engine piece we're also on is Void Corridor. It's a very similar effect to Cataphract. If you have a Dark Attribute Galaxy type monster in your graveyard, send a card from your hand to the graveyard, and then add any Dark Attribute Galaxy type monster from your graveyard to your hand. We're on 3 of this because this deck loves to play out of its graveyard. It fills its graveyard up super fast. And basically the moment you find Dark Prophet is the moment you like typically either win the game or really pressure to win the game. And this deck is very based around the idea of just turboing through our entire engine to find our combo pieces so we can just kill our opponent into the sun. The other card that I want to talk about is supposedly the main boss monster of the deck, but we don't actually make it that often. It is a very powerful card. the materials don't end up on board very consistently because they're 2 level 8s. You can play polymerization to kind of work around this, but Pot of Greed I think is just better in this case. Gigantomachia is a fusion of, as I mentioned, Requiem and Chrysaor. You can send a card from your hand to the graveyard, destroy a spell trap card on the field. Also, this card gains 500 attack and can attack twice. It's a very powerful monster, but it doesn't come up as much. It's also notably the only form of spell trap removal we're playing. You'll notice we're not on the Universal Storms because if this deck gets interrupted, you just keep playing. Who cares? What's going to stop you? Like a Compulse in the wrong spot? Who cares? Just find another Prophet. You win the game anyway. Speaking of Compulse, it is the only trap card we're on because this is a very turbo heavy deck. And honestly, before this, it wasn't on any. I was on no trap cards and I was on the 3rd Meteor Larva, which you could totally do. I just like Compulse. The card is really, really good. But with all that out of the way, I think I've yapped enough. Let's see some games. So full transparency, I attempted to record these games yesterday, but I was on 2 hours of sleep and my commentary was anywhere from completely incomprehensible to stumbling over my words so bad that I was just saying nonsense. So we're just going to kind of hope that things don't go that way this time. The games are actually pretty all right. I mean, it's hard to find a game with this deck that isn't either you found all the cards in your hand be boss monsters or you kill your opponent into the sun. I'm really hoping it's the latter. This hand isn't looking incredible, but we're going second. We have this go online, and we have a Requiem in hand, plus a Pot of Greed. I think there's a very real chance we get out of this one feeling pretty good. This draw off the top could be anything crazy. Wow, that is something crazy. I'm going to lead Pot here. I want to see if I can find something else to pitch with the skill. Chrysaor's not a bad target. I think I am just going to pitch the 1 though, because I want to field this Chrysaor. Pitch. Wow. Oh my god, those mills! All right, we might kill our opponent into the sun here. The only thing we're missing is a Dark Prophet right now, but like, I don't even think we need it. We'll go Globule, Meteor Larva, and Prophet here. Go to the Meteor Larva. What? They're dead. They died. They just died. They're dead. Okay. Let me make sure I'm counting up the cards in my graveyard correctly. Yeah. All right. So we're gonna. Ooh, I want to tribute some of this Chrysaor. This is actually a little weird. We're gonna do this. We're gonna Dark Prophet, put back everything but one of the Pale Riders. My current idea right now is I want to get to a point where I can field Apocalypse and then maybe something past that. The issue is I have to tribute summon first. So I think maybe we don't necessarily go for an Apocalypse play here. We might just go for a Theogonia. We are going to mill. Those are whatever. Theogonia might be them. Ooh, no, I don't. We have another Chrysaor. I want to go like this. We're going to make Protostar. And then we're going to make Theogonia. So they're not dead here, but we're in a fantastic position going forward just because of the things that we have set up in our graveyard. So we're going to add back the Dark Prophet. We are not going to Special Summon. We're going to Dark Prophet. Go effect. Shuffle you, and you back. We want to keep the Chrysaor around. We actually didn't need to keep the Chrysaor around because we have the one on field that we're just going to use, but it's fine. It shouldn't change the math too much. Let's go you and you for Theogonia. And Theogonia. And depending on our mills with the Chrysaor here, they might die. They died. No, they didn't. The game closed, but they're not dead. They're 500 off. So 1, first attack, second attack, third attack, and then Theogonia in. They got 500 life points to crack my board and then not leave themselves vulnerable. This is what I was talking about in the deck profile. There are so many different ways you can go about these turns, and all of them tend to result in just absurd results. Like, this could have been Apocalypse because we had Darkhold Device in the grave, and I might have been able to extend past that because DHD can just add back the Prophet. In hindsight, it probably was Apocalypse, but I like where we got. I think this is totally fine, and it leaves us open to Apocalypse next turn if our field gets wiped, though. Against spellcasters with nothing on their board and them dropping a stealth agic, I'm feeling pretty confident that we're going to be okay. So they add the Swordsman of Roadstar. Oh no, they revealed Roadstar and added Fusion. Only one ad, so they didn't have to discard. I wonder what they have. There's a Witch. So they're going to Witch for Magician here, but they only have... I imagine this is a Master, which if I can just find like... Yeah, this is Master. So if I can find any way to make Apocalypse, they die. That is such an unfortunate mill for them. Yep, here comes Fusion for the Master of the Sevens Road. Now this guy is going to be pretty big, but like, it's not... Oh, wow, he's actually not that big. He's 36. That is so depressing. Honestly, if they leave the Chrysaor alive, we can just make Gigantomachia if we feel the Requiem. Okay, suddenly I'm just feeling like there's no way we lose this game. Oh my god. It got better. So, okay, how do I want to play this? I think we go Voidvilk Fusion draw. We pitch the Darkhold Device and the Fusion because we don't need them. Yeah, that's kind of what I was hoping for. We're going to go Meteor Larva. Might as well mill. Good ones. Really good ones, actually. We're going to go Requiem here. And honestly, Requiem on its own probably clears this. So we can just, like, kill them. But No, I want to make Gigantomachia. I really want to make Gigantomachia. The card's just so fun. Shuffle back you, and you. Get the Fusion. I never get to make this guy, so I'm going to. We'll fuse. Gigantomachia. Big guy. Machia effect. Send you. Pop our back row. We'll set this for no reason. And swing. And swing. Done. It's so dumb. Why is this deck like this? I don't get it. I love it so much, though. What a silly deck. Well, that last game went about as well as I could have hoped, so... Ooh, Maddox. Please show me Finalized Phoenix. No, it's an archive skill. Wait, what archive skill are you on? Is this like Cyber Dragons? 36 cards. The hand has looked better. We are just gonna set the field. In my previous attempt at recording this, I made a play where I had a very similar hand, and instead of just setting a bunch, I instead tribute summoned the Requiem in this scenario, and it led me to die. So I will not be making that mistake again. Oh, what in the world? Aggro? Just like pure legend draw aggro? Whoa, who's that? Super King Rex. Look at that guy. Yeah, sure. I don't know why we're on the insect package and stuff. I mean, they're going to clear a bunch of... They're going to clear my board here. Oh, they were that afraid of the 1500 Defender, huh? Is this only the turn? Yeah, only the turn you summon this guy. You can special summon a level 6 or lower dinosaur normal, which I think is like exactly Mega Zowler. Okay, I've seen better hands. We're going to rip these two. Whoa. Get our mills going. Those are really solid. We've got double Void Corridor here. We're going to send one of you to the grave to get this Dark Prophet back, because he is the most important guy. We'll go Dark Prophet, go Globule, and Meteor Larva. We'll go Meteor Larva, mill my mill. That is exactly what I was hoping to see. I really wanted to find a Dark Hole Device. We're going to put you, and you back. Because we already have a Chrysaor in rotation. We want to find more for the skill later on. Add this Fusion back. We're going to rip the Fusion. Make our Protostar. We do have to find a way to clear this King Rex. I'm not too worried about it. because we can just summon back the Requiem here. We'll add, oh, actually, add Dark Prophet. We'll special summon the Requiem. The play here is to make Theogonia, which is fine. We'll go Chrysaor. Dark Prophet again. And I wish I could do like an Apocalypse play here, but if I go for Apocalypse, I don't think I can kill them. I want to put as much pressure onto the board as I physically can. So we're going to rip this Fusion, make a Theogonia. Very similar to what we did last game. This deck does kind of have terms like this where you could make an Apocalypse and wipe their board, but this will also wipe their board and also keep more presence around for later turns, which I like. Especially if we can't guaranteed kill them here, which I don't think we can. We'll rip this Chrysaor. I think they died. I'm pretty sure they're dead. We'll clear that. One attack. One attack. In for direct. And the 24 to kill them. I didn't get to show up Apocalypse. Oh, well. It kind of goes to show that, like, even though this deck has incredibly terrifying and powerful tools like Apocalypse, add back Dark Hole Device, it doesn't need them to win games. You can just do the other fusions and they're just as powerful. Okay, we're back with the deck, and even though I didn't get to showcase everything about the deck that I wanted to, namely the Dark Hole Device and Apocalypse side of the deck, I think this was still a pretty decent showcase of what this deck does in any given game. And it also kind of showcases how the deck is kind of like the exact opposite of Spellcasters, where while Spellcasters typically wants to try to do relatively the same thing every game, you want to field a Charming Witch with a 7-drop Magician fairly early, and then you want to build that eventually into a Master of the Sevens road play, or you want to make a bigger Sevens Paladin later on in the game. This deck, every single hand you draw is another puzzle to figure out to find a line to lethal. And more often than not, there is probably a lethal line in the 5 you draw. It's just a matter of, are you practiced enough with the deck to see those lethal lines in the moment? I myself am not. I've thrown plenty of games on this deck by just not being able to correctly identify what the correct line to lethal is in any given scenario. And I think you could see in the games that, like, while I'm not perfect at this deck, and I don't think I ever will be because this is a difficult deck to pilot, I am, like, competent enough where I can win enough games in the road to hit King of Games with it, which I'm going to be honest is probably the thing that I'm going to be doing this season, just because this deck is just so much fun to play and I love it so much. I think the things that it has access to are really fun to play around. I love this idea of just every single turn you are staring at your hand of 5 and going, which combination of these in which order will shoot my opponent into the sun with a giant cannon. And that playstyle is very fun to me. It feels kind of like what Gaia was trying to do, but if I'm going to be honest with you, this is way more fun than anything Gaia was doing, and it's not even close. But with all that said, I hope you all enjoyed the video. I, as always, have had a blast making these videos for this Rush Duel Links format. Even with the upcoming ban list, I'm really hoping that it doesn't change too much, just because I love all the decks that are present in this format. There are certainly some things that could be maybe touched up a little bit of a slap on the wrist to the Galaxy decks to bring them more in line with some other things, but I don't know. I have a lot of fun with this format. It's been an absolute blast to lab out, and I'm really excited for the box coming at the end of the month. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.